Ever just freeze, staring at a menu, trying to make a choice, and your brain just feels stuck?
Well, what if I told you that feeling, that paralysis, isn't a weakness at all? What if it's actually the side effect of a hidden superpower?
Because today we're going to dive into why that struggle to make a decision is actually a sign that your brain is operating on a whole other level.
All right, first things first. Let's just completely tear down this myth that taking your time to make a choice means you're indecisive.
This really gets to the heart of it, you know? Your brain isn't stalling out, no. It's exploding with possibilities. It's mapping out all these connections and consequences that, honestly, most people just don't see.
It really just boils down to two different ways of thinking. You've got your fast deciders, right? They use mental shortcuts to get from A to B. And then there are the strategic thinkers, and if you're watching this, that's probably you. You see this huge, complex web of possibilities. The thing is, our culture loves to praise that fast, straight line, but it completely misses the power of seeing the whole map.
So what is actually happening inside your head? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the incredible forecasting engine that is your brain.
Okay, it all starts with something called cognitive inhibition. The best way to think about it is like a bouncer at a club, but for your thoughts. Now, when that bouncer is a little more relaxed, when you have low inhibition, way more ideas, possibilities, and all those what-ifs get to sneak past the velvet rope and into the party.
And that works hand in hand with this thing called counterfactual thinking. This is your brain's built-in what-if machine. It's constantly running simulations, exploring all these alternate futures for every single choice you could make. It is literally a superpower for seeing what could be.
And then you add a third layer, probabilistic thinking. See, you're not just dreaming up possibilities. Oh no, you're running the numbers. You're calculating the odds on everything. The best case scenario, the worst case, and all the stuff in the middle.
So you put all three of those together, and what do you get? This. Your brain isn't broken. It's not slow. It is a high-powered, risk-aware supercomputer, designed from the ground up for deep, complex analysis.
But, and this is a big but, like any powerful machine, that supercomputer can get stuck. It can get caught in a feedback loop. Let's break down exactly how that happens.
And the result of getting stuck in that loop? It's just draining. It leads to total mental exhaustion and this nagging feeling that you're somehow failing, which, by the way, is absolutely not true. So here's what that cycle actually looks like. First, you gather information, a ton of it. Then you start simulating every possible scenario. This kicks up a fear of making the wrong choice, the fear of regret. And what does that do? It makes you put off the decision, which sends you right back to the beginning to gather even more information. Does that sound familiar at all?
So the big question is, how do you break out of that? How do we take that paralysis and turn it back into your superpower?
First, you have to remember why your brain works this way. This whole system didn't evolve to help you pick what to watch on a Friday night. No, it evolved to prevent catastrophe, to keep you and your ancestors safe from very real dangers. It's a feature, not a bug.
Okay, so here's a practical toolkit to help you manage that amazing engine. First up, give yourself a deadline. A time limit stops the endless information gathering. Next, make a conscious shift. Focus on what's likely to happen, not just everything that's possible. You also have to learn to choose good enough over perfect. And finally, get all those scenarios out of your head and write them down. Put them on paper so you can actually see them.
And here's the most important thing to get. The whole point is not to shut your brain down. Never. The goal is to give that powerful mind of yours a framework, a structure to work inside of. You need to filter your analysis, not eliminate it. You need filters, not an off switch.
So let's land this with the single most important takeaway. I really want you to let this sink in. You are not indecisive. You are cognitively vigilant. That's what this is. It is a strategic asset. And now you know how to use it.